And yeah, so my father is a doctor. He's a very passionate doctor. He's about 83 or 84 right now, and he still goes to the clinic for about 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
He still practices even during the COVID pandemic. He would see up to 100 patients a day. And
Amazing.
of course, that was a huge problem for us because he would have to isolate from my poor mom during the entire pandemic. But he was very adamant that,
He was doing his work.
yeah, he said
it was
that
his duty.
Exactly. He said that if I'm not going to do my duty now, when the world needs me the most and when my country needs me the most, then what's the point of me being a
What
doctor?
were you doing during how was it to be locked up for you during the pandemic?
I was
How-
making music.
You were making music.
Yeah, because,
like were you in your own studio, your own world? Did you do it remotely? Did you talk to people?
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is that I'd won my first Grammy in 2015 for an album that I made called Winds of Samsara. And for the next 7 years, there was always the desire to make a follow-up to that. But because of my touring schedule, it was impossible for me to sit down in a focused manner and make an album. But then when the pandemic hit in 2020, that presented itself as an unfortunate opportunity for me to sit down at home and create new music. And that is how my next album, Divine Tides, was born. And I got to collaborate with the great Stuart Copeland for that album. I reached out to him in Los Angeles. I've been a childhood fan of his, and I had posters of him on my wall while growing up. So that is how big a fan of his that I was.
Stuart Copeland. Stuart Copeland is the former drummer of the Police, and I'm sorry for the what do you call it, the present generation, if they
No, and
if
also-
they don't know about Stuart Copeland. But people like Stuart Copeland, people
Yeah.
like the Police, people like Billy Joel,
Yeah.
they are timeless, right? So
No, and Stuart has
Stuart
been-
Copeland was the drummer of the Police, and you approached him
Correct. And
for your second Grammy.
yeah, for my next album.
Yeah, for your next album.
And he, numerous publications has called him the greatest drummer in the history of music and all of that stuff. So I approached him, and I still, even though we've shared a beautiful relationship right now and we finished 3 albums since then, I believe that he would have never worked with me if it wasn't for the pandemic, because even he was, stuck at home in Los Angeles. So he agreed to take this journey with me and create this album. So him in Los Angeles, me in Bangalore, working remotely.
How do people create music when they are not physically together?
So there is
Where's the vibe? Don't you need to vibe together to do it?
So that is what we would speak to each other every single day. We would send each other messages, send each other pieces of music. We would record remotely, and I changed my sleep timings so that I could match his, because when it's AM over here, it's PM in Los Angeles. So I started sleeping in the daytime and working in the nighttime so that we would have instantaneous feedback with
Why
each
did
other.
you want to work with him alone?
I guess I was a huge fan of his. So it was a dream to actually work with him. So it was more about me trying to outreach what I could grasp. And I reached out to him, and I thought, what's the worst that's going to happen? He'll say no. But he did say yes, and it was a dream come true, as I said. And yeah, so up until then, whatever music I would make, I was in complete control of my music. And I would decide what would go into the song and what would not. But here I was working with a legend.
Yeah.
And so I'd made a very strong decision that how I'm going to work with a legend is that whatever he asks me to do, I'm just going to do it. Okay, whether I feel it is wrong or right, I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to live with that for at least 2 weeks. And at the end of 2 weeks, if I still feel what he asked me to do is wrong, then I'm going to voice my opinion. And there were about 40 or 50 times during the year that we made the album where I felt that this is not going to work. What he's suggesting is not going to work, or what he recorded is not going to work. But I would shut up, okay?
How would he convince you? Did he need to convince you?
No, I would just do it. I would just do whatever he would ask me to do.
Give me a real example of that.
Okay, it's like, for example, there was this particular song on the album. It was called Art of Devotion.
Art of Devotion.
Art of Devotion.
Okay.
So in this particular song, he played an actual drum set.
Right.
And I felt the drum set is too powerful for that kind of a song, which is a more meditative song. So I did not voice my opinion. He sent me the drum set recordings, and I just put that into the song, and I said that, okay. I mean, I thought to myself that I'll live with that for 2 weeks.
It was too overwhelming.
It was too overwhelming, it was too powerful, and he being a rock musician, I felt that he's probably taking it in the wrong direction. And so I did not voice my opinion. I kept it for 2 weeks. I listened to it for 2 weeks, and at the end of 2 weeks, I fell in love with what he did. And I realized that sometimes, we as artists and we as composers, we fall in love with our own ideas, so much so that we can't look at another perspective.
Yeah.
But when we live with that perspective for long enough, we start seeing things from that perspective.
Yeah.
And we start realizing that probably, my vision of getting from point A to point B, my idea of getting from point A to point B was the wrong idea, and maybe
Yeah.
somebody else achieved that
Wow.
that pathway from getting from point A to point B, and that's what would happen.
That's such a great lesson in life.
It is a huge lesson, and that happened many times, where he would do something and I would feel that it is wrong, and then later on I would live with it for 2 weeks, and I would realize in every single situation that the guy is a genius, you know, and he is achieving the vision that we are trying to reach in a much better fashion.